Hi there, this is once again Jacob John, and today with me is a familiar face. Of course, you will understand who it is, and I don't want to say anything about him. Let me just look at him. He will say.
Okay, I'm Jitesh Pillai, and I'm a senior speaking mentor in B-GHUD Mavelikara. So today we will be discussing the follow-up questions with you guys, especially the opinionated questions where most of the students find difficult to answer. So he'll be asking me some questions and I'll be explaining it to you and how to answer these type of questions. Okay.
Well, I have prepared something else and I was having something else in my mind, but since he said about opinionated questions, that too, into a discussion of IELTS speaking, let me just, what do you say, gather a little bit more. Right. And I'm sure that he'll be able to answer whatever I'm going to ask him because, of course, he's in this field for the past how many years?
16 years.
16 years, and that is not a child's play. Anyhow, without further ado, let's start this particular video, and I'm going to ask him the question. The one that I prepared over here is, do you think youngsters of your country, are uncouth nowadays? Actually, it is like, I don't want you to say that, but still I have seen many of the youngsters. They are totally behaving as if they are uncivilized. So let me just ask him, what is his opinion about this question?
Okay, now in this question, most of the students will not understand the meaning of the word uncouth. So what usually the students do is, they'll say, can you repeat it? Now, when you say, can you repeat it, it means you haven't heard the question. It doesn't mean that you haven't understood the question. Secondly, the student may ask, can you please rephrase? Of course, you cannot ask the examiner to rephrase that question because you're ordering him. Third, you cannot say that I did not understand the question because he is asking you something in English and he's sitting there to actually understand whether you are proficient in that language or not. So if you say that you didn't understand that question, that means you don't understand English. So there are two ways you can actually answer this question. Or here, there is something, if you read the band descriptors, in 8 band, you can see that uses paraphrasing effectively as required. Now, most of the students feel that it is only for writing where we need to use paraphrasing. No, we can use paraphrasing in speaking. Now, when you heard the word uncouth, now whenever a word starts with un, you can easily imagine that it is a negative word. 90% of the word that starts with un are negative. Unemployment, untidy, uncomfortable. So 90% of the words are negative. So you can just guess it. Okay. Now, while guessing it, now the second thing is that now you have to understand that this is a general question or an opinionated question wherein the entire youngsters of your country, 50% of the youngsters of your country or 50% of the population of your country are youngsters, as I said before, and he's being taken into consideration. So it will be a general mannerism, right? So where, like, you can guess carelessness, okay? You can say unprofessional. So you're guessing it, right? So now what I'll do is I will paraphrase the question to the examiner. For example, I'll say, sir, if I understand you correctly, did you mean to ask me that the younger generation of my country are careless nowadays? Am I correct? Here I'm paraphrasing. Where I'm paraphrasing, I'm showing him a skill. So for him, he will just have two things. One is yes, if I'm correct. So he'd say yes, proceed. Two, he can never say a no. Rather, he will paraphrase the question for you because I've already shown him a skill.
Right.
I've already shown him an 8-band skill. Okay, so now he will say, because uncouth means disrespectful. So he will say, well, I need to ask you that the younger generation of your country are being disrespectful towards their elders nowadays. What is your opinion about it? So then you can answer it. You got the question.
Whoa. Seriously. So when a question is being asked, there are so many things that you have to, first of all, if we all circle in your mind, there's so many things that you have to keep in your mind. Like, first of all, you cannot rephrase, you cannot ask the examiner, it sounds so rude. And apart from that, you only can just paraphrase and ask the examiner, what you heard is this or not. You have to know the meaning of the word. There are so many things that is actually occupying your mind. But if you get it correctly, of course, it's not at all a Herculean task for you to accomplish. Anyhow, don't worry, it's not over yet.
I know that.
I know. Okay, all right. So I'm going to ask him the second question that I have prepared. It was actually a very big deal for me to prepare this question. Jokes apart, but still. The second question, how do you think? This is a little bit globalized, you know. So let me just ask him whether he's expecting his answer from a candidate or what sort of an answer is he expecting from his students or candidates. How do you think, as a consumer, you can increase your country's GDP?
Okay, well, guys, let me tell you this. This was a question which was asked in 2021 to one of my candidates, and he was clueless about the answer. Now, when you heard this question, most of the students will have no clue for giving an answer to this. Now, you heard the word consumerism, you heard the word GDP, right? Now, when you hear these two words, you come to know that this particular question is from economics. Now, basically, you need to understand one thing, that the examiner there only wants to know whether you understood the question or not, because he's not assessing you based on your knowledge. He is assessing you based on your proficiency in the language. So, basically, if you say that, sir, unfortunately, I'm not from an economics background, that's it. You showed the examiner that you understood the question. After that, whatever you say is an added plus point for you. For example, if I am the person who is answering this question, I would say, well, that was a good question. Unfortunately, I'm not from an economics background, so I don't think I'll be able to give you the right answer. However, I feel that if every Indian citizen pays their taxes on time, it may help increase our country's GDP. Now, when I'm using the word may, means possibility. I'm not giving an answer with conviction. I'm giving an answer, it may help increase my country's GDP. So hopefully you got to know how to answer these type of opinionated questions. If you do not have a proper, valid answer, please do not comment. It is okay for you to say that, unfortunately, but do not use the word called no or I don't know. Please do not use it in IELTS or any. Rude, right? Yeah, it sounds rude. Yes. Please ask could. Don't use can. Use could. Okay. So there are certain things that you need to learn, and we'll be sharing a lot more of videos for your information, which most of the students find difficult to answer. I think for now, it is done, right?
It is, because with this GDP itself, you know, my brain just stopped working and I'm not able to brainstorm anymore. But apart from that, let me just ask you one more thing. Will that answer be all right? Like, I'm not from economics background and I have no idea regarding all sorts of fancy schmancy words like consumerism and GDP and everything. If you just give a statement like that, don't you think that students are like, oh, what will the examiner think about me? Like, I'm having no idea regarding that. Wouldn't it be so offending?
Well, let me tell you this, Jacob. I told before it's as well, like, you know, because here IELTS is not to assess their knowledge. Because every student, we have students who have just completed their 10+2. We have students who are doctors. We have students who are engineers, who have done MA literature, who has already worked for 10 years, and then they come back for IELTS and go for migration. The question asked to them, all of them is the same. So knowledge is no for IELTS. It's all about your language.
All right, so I just wanted to get a clear explanation from his side. Anyhow, he has done it perfectly. So what I want to ask you is, like, please stay tuned for such questions. These are only just a couple of questions. So what I want to tell you is, please do comment. Comment your questions so that we can prepare ready-made answers for you and you can practice based on that particular questions or answers that you're actually having in your mind, which hopefully will be beneficial for you to take your International English Language Testing System examination coming soon or whenever you are ready to take your examinations. Thank you so much, guys, for listening to this short video as well.
Thank you, guys, and hope you all have a good time.